Discussion on full summary, themes and characters of To Killing a Mockingbird with original textual quotations. Characters. Scout Finch. The narrator of the story, Scout is a young girl who begins the novel full of innocence but grows throughout the book as she learns about the world's complexities. She is curious, intelligent, and often questions social norms. Quote, "I wanted to be a lawyer, but I didn't have the right kind of mind for it." Scout Finch. Scout's early comments reflect her desire to understand the world, and her eventual maturity is marked by a deeper understanding of human nature and justice. Atticus Finch. Atticus is the moral backbone of the novel. He is a lawyer who believes in justice, fairness, and the rule of law. He defends Tom Robinson, despite knowing the risks to his reputation and his family. Quote, "I wanted you to see what real courage is, instead of getting the idea that courage is a man with a gun in his hand." Atticus Finch. Atticus serves as the moral guide in the novel, teaching his children about integrity, empathy, and the importance of standing up for what is right. Jem Finch. Jem is Scout's older brother who also undergoes significant moral growth throughout the novel. He begins as an idealist but becomes disillusioned with the justice system after witnessing Tom Robinson's conviction. Quote, "I wanted you to see what real courage is, instead of getting the idea that courage is a man with a gun in his hand." Jem Finch. Jem's loss of innocence is a key part of the novel's theme of moral development. Tom Robinson. Tom Robinson is the black man falsely accused of raping Mayella Ewell. He represents the racial injustice central to the novel, as he is convicted despite overwhelming evidence of his innocence. Quote, "I wanted you to see what real courage is, instead of getting the idea that courage is a man with a gun in his hand." Tom Robinson. Tom symbolizes the innocence destroyed by racial prejudice and serves as a martyr for the theme of social injustice. Boo Radley. Boo Radley is a mysterious, reclusive man who lives next door to the Finches. Over time, Scout and Jem come to understand that Boo is not the monster they once thought, but a kind, misunderstood figure who ultimately saves them. Quote, "Atticus, he was real nice. Most people are nice, when you finally see them." Scout Finch about Boo Radley. Boo is a symbol of the novel's theme of misunderstanding and the idea that people should not be judged based on rumors or appearances. Bob Ewell. Bob Ewell is the primary antagonist of the novel, a racist and abusive man who falsely accuses Tom Robinson of raping his daughter, Mayella. He embodies the deeply entrenched prejudice and hatred in the town of Macomb. Quote, "But I never figured out how Atticus knew I was lying, and it was not until many years later that I realized he had been trying to protect me." Mayella Ewell. Bob's actions drive the novel's central conflict and highlight the destructive power of hate and ignorance. Themes. Racial injustice. One of the central themes of the novel is racial inequality. Tom Robinson's trial and conviction illustrate how racial prejudice affects the justice system. Despite clear evidence that Tom is innocent, the all-white jury convicts him because of his race. Quote, "But there's one way in this country in which all men are created equal. There is one human institution that makes a pauper the equal of a Rockefeller, the stupid man the equal of an Einstein. That institution, gentlemen, is a court." Atticus Finch. This quote from Atticus during his defense of Tom highlights the ideal of justice, which is ultimately corrupted by racial bias. The loss of innocence. The novel explores how Scout and Jem lose their innocence as they come to terms with the realities of racism, prejudice, and human nature. They start out seeing the world as a place of fairness but gradually learn that good and evil are not always clear-cut. Quote, "I wanted you to see what real courage is, instead of getting the idea that courage is a man with a gun in his hand. It's when you know you're licked before you begin, but you begin anyway and see it through no matter what." Atticus Finch. Here, Atticus teaches Scout about true courage, showing her that integrity and moral bravery are more important than physical strength or outward victories. Moral growth. The novel is a coming-of-age story for Scout, who matures as she witnesses the complexities of the world around her. She learns from her father, Atticus, the importance of empathy, understanding, and standing up for justice. Quote, "You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view. Until you climb inside of his skin and walk around in it." Atticus Finch. Atticus's words embody the theme of empathy, as he teaches Scout the importance of understanding others' perspectives, especially when it comes to prejudice. The Mockingbird symbol. The mockingbird symbolizes innocence, kindness, and goodness, and is a metaphor for Tom Robinson and Boo Radley. Both are innocent individuals who are judged and harmed by society despite doing no wrong. Quote, "It's a sin to kill a mockingbird. Miss Maudie." This quote refers to the idea that harming innocent beings, like Tom and Boo, is wrong, as they do no harm to anyone but are nonetheless victimized by society. The power of community. Macomb, the setting of the novel, represents a close-knit but deeply flawed community. The town's attitudes toward race, class, and gender shape the characters' lives and actions. The novel critiques this community's collective moral failures, while also highlighting the few individuals who strive to uphold justice and integrity. Quote, "I wanted to see if I could make it to the Radley house. I wanted to see if I could make it to the corner of the street without being caught by Boo Radley." Scout Finch. Scout's curiosity about Boo Radley represents her initial misjudgment of others based on gossip and rumors, a reflection of how the community shapes perceptions. Summary. To Kill a Mockingbird, by Harper Lee, is a novel published in 1960 that explores themes of racial injustice, moral growth, and the loss of innocence. Set in the fictional town of Macomb, Alabama, during the 1930s, the story is narrated by Scout Finch, a young girl who reflects on her childhood and the events that shaped her understanding of right and wrong. The novel is set in the Depression-era South, focusing on Scout Finch, her brother Jem, and their father Atticus Finch. Scout and Jem's childhood is disrupted when their father, Atticus, a well-respected lawyer, is appointed to defend Tom Robinson, a black man accused of raping Mayella Ewell, a white woman. As the trial progresses, the children witness the deep-seated racism of their society, with Tom being convicted despite clear evidence of his innocence. Scout and Jem also encounter the mysterious Boo Radley, a reclusive neighbor who becomes a symbol of misunderstood innocence. Ultimately, Boo saves the children from an attack by Bob Ewell, Mayella's father, who seeks revenge after the trial. The novel ends with Scout's realization that people are often misunderstood, and that true courage is standing up for what is right, even when the odds are against you. Conclusion. To Kill a Mockingbird is a profound exploration of racism, justice, and moral growth. Through its rich characters and moving narrative, the novel critiques social prejudices and calls for empathy and understanding. Its themes and characters remain relevant in discussions about racial inequality and human morality today.